We don't got any pledge allegiance, do we?
Nope.
We're
Call it back to
continuation.
order.
All right, commission meeting's back to order. It's 9 o'clock. Today is Wednesday, and we're going to discuss budget, and we're going to go over checks and vouchers. So, what do we want to battle first?
Angie's got, I'm sorry, but Angie's got 3 different, shall we do the budget?
I'm all about the budget,
All
yeah.
right,
So,
Okay.
discuss the budget.
Okay, so we have 3 options. The first one being what we presented the other day during the revenue neutral rate hearing with the, I'll give you guys a copy of it first. If you want to write option 1 at the top of that, she just sent those to me last night, so I didn't get a chance to write that on there. That's the first
This is the first one.
they prepared.
I know Angie and the auditors have worked on this since Monday.
And Richard.
And Richard.
I talked with him too,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's option 2.
Oh, sorry.
You're right.
I gotta look down at the paper to read it.
So option 1 is the option that we looked at
That's
originally.
original,
Yeah, we
yeah.
had
That's
to-
after we lowered it, or after you lowered it from 60.
See, 63.2 or,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then this is option 3 you're getting now.
I've got to go get my glasses redone.
You're not the only one.
I can't look up high enough to get
Can't
my
have it
bifocal
up,
going.
down. Try a different prescription.
I'll steal Tom's glasses for today.
I was talking to him. Have you
I
talked?
haven't talked to
I
him,
haven't
but
talked to him for a few
I'm going
days.
to call him today.
I meant to
So-
call him on the way in, and I got another phone call, a couple other phone calls, business related.
Okay, so option 1 is the one you lowered down from 63. And that puts your mill levy at 57.914 over the revenue neutral rate of 55.796. Option 2 is lowering it down more by anticipating, we've already collected $1 million or $1.5 million this year in interest income, and Richard's pretty certain we'll collect another $1 million by the end of this year.
And
So
that's what this is
this
based on.
is reflecting that, plus
Yeah.
then that we're going to collect $1.5 million next year. And he figured that on a lower interest rate
Oh, okay.
at 3%, it could be more.
And that's
So-
just based on the possibility of rate drops, is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and so it's figured lower for next year at 1.5 million. It could come in at 2 or 2.5, but at the low, it's estimating that. So that's option 2.
That's at 56.166.
Right. And then option 3 is backing off of the interest income a little bit. So for this year, it would be at 2.25. Next year would be 1.25. And then capturing that mental wellness, which Jesse talked to me about,
Yes.
and the guy that was here the other day questioned that. That's actually cash that's there already. It's been budgeted in previous years. And so what we would have to do to capture that money is we would have to close out that fund, because it's not a statutory fund. It's a fund set up by the committee asking me to make a fund, which we did outside of general. We would have to close that fund out completely, transfer all of the money to general, and then to not close out mental wellness completely, set up a department under the general fund and put the remainder, $185,000 there, and use $700,000 of that money. So, Jesse can go on with that. But-
Well, and like I said, I brought this up several years ago, you know, why is there a sizable amount of money in this account? And I think Bob Stresick was still commissioner at that time, and I kinda got beat down and so on and so forth, but, I mean, that's okay. I understand mental health is a major issue, but is it something that is reflecting raising taxes on our taxpayers when it's cash sitting in our account, you know?
I was gonna ask, what specifically is it there for? I mean, what use where would that be used at?
Well, mental wellness has not been, they have not had a board for several years. They're reassembling the board. And so they are going to be an operational board. It's gonna be it's gonna be a viable.
In Coffee County, is
Yes,
that?
in Coffee County.
So that's
For Coffee County.
for Coffee County.
But, you know, we send money to Crosswinds, we send money to SOS, you know, I mean,
And Crosswinds is part of mental health. I mean, that's their goal, I mean, that's their job description, right?
yes.
So they got an office, they're the ones that's moving the office to, or possible to New Strong.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But their money is in a separate fund.
Right. I was just trying to figure out what this would be used for, because I think, you know, on the middle side of it, I think funding is short for that, but if it's been sitting there, will it ever be used? I guess that's the point that I was trying to ask.
I mean, when we have left, I mean, and Angie can correct me in the past, when there's been leftover money in budgets, we've moved over, and it's just acted as a savings account, basically, in a sense, correct?
Kind of.
More or less.
But the thing is, what like Jesse was talking yesterday too, that money, if you were to use it this year to help offset the 12-15% increase in appraisal, or valuation,
Right.
pardon me, valuation, if state assess goes up next year, that may offset some of this, but that could be rebudgeted for some of it and build upon it
From there.
going forward.
Build it back up again.
But if, essentially, if things stayed the same, this money won't be there to, I mean, not that it's doing anything for us now, but this will be a one-time Band-Aid, is guess what I'm saying. I mean, as far as our taxpayers are concerned, and obviously a cut this year helps everybody. I'm not trying to talk against it, it's just, we're not gonna have this $700,000 to put in there every year. That'll help us this year meet our level, and I'm in favor of that. I just, you know, want everybody to understand that if things didn't you know, change on our appraised values, that'd be changing next year, then, you know.
Option 2 doesn't reflect that, is that correct?
Right, option 2 does not capture that money in the mental wellness.
Does option 3 include the changes with the interest that Richard was talking about?
It does reduce down to 2.25
Okay,
and 1.25. So
okay,
instead of the full 2.5 and 1.5, as in option 2, option 3 is reducing that interest income down to that.
okay, all right, that's what I wanted to try to understand.
You know, this whole thing is a Band-Aid. It is, guys and gals and public. This is a Band-Aid for the moment, because you got Road and Bridge that pulled $2.5 million out of what they was projecting for the future for equipment, and that's not gonna come back the year after next,
And
Right,
you know,
And to that point, Jess, but Ryan did say, you know, he said, I was pretty aggressive on which you need to be, because if you don't ask, you don't get.
Right.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
that's the
because
bottom line.
Because he has been playing catch
You never
up.
know what it might be the truth.
Yeah,
Why?
You never know what it might be the truth.
yeah,
Well, that's
yeah,
true.
but
That's true.
like
The
I
road
say,
and bridge is such, you know, they've got so many things that I'm not gonna say they're gonna have any issues coming up, but, you know, we've got the bridge up at Levo that became And I fully agree with all of our citizens, we need to do everything we can, you know, to control our mill levy, but,
Yeah.
that bridge in Leroy sounds like it's in the works in a year or two or three, that it's it'll take that $2.5 million out real quick. And most of that $2.5 million was equipment.
Yeah. You know, I agree with everyone that spoke here the other day. You know, I'm very concerned. I don't like taxes any more than anyone else, but, you know, who wants to be the first to give up their program?
Well,
We've got-
it all goes to services. I mean, it's, you know, what service do you want to delete and, or bring down?
I mean, you know, we've got all kinds of services and privileges that other counties around us don't have. And
The biggest hit, and I'm not laughing at it, but the biggest hits of each, I mean, the two or three speakers had were the hikes in the real estate, in their houses.
oh, I totally
You know, 14
understand,
or
but I mean,
15%, that was a hit, but they don't that was directed by the state. I mean.
no, but what I mean is for us to reduce the mill levy to compensate for that,
Oh, yes.
to compensate for the appraisals going up, then we have to do away with services. So who wants to be first? You know.
I think part of the impression was that came from the county.
I know, but these people are hurting, and I'd like to
And I
fix
see your
it for
point.
them.
You're right,
And the only
right.
way to do that is to curb spending or get more industry in our county.
Right.
Those are the two ways to fix it,
That's right.
you know, and
I
we're
was-
trying to do both, you know.
I was told by a taxpayer north of the airport that, thinks the citizens are prepared to do with less nice roads, less maybe libraries, I don't know, less health department, less hospital. I don't know what he meant by that, but he said that, Coffee Countyans are, he thinks they're prepared to have a
Lesser lifestyle.
lesser lifestyle.
And I disagree with that.
Yeah, I know.
Whoever wants to go backwards.
I'm not sure that they want to be the first one to go if it affects them, though.
But I won't mention any names, unlike the individual did. But,
Yeah.
That was his remark to me, that Coffee Countyans are prepared to settle for less.
There's a lot that are not, and
Drive down.
I want us to be in the lead. I want us to have more than other places have. I want us to be somewhere people want to move to, you know, that we have things other places don't have. That's my opinion.
You drive down through Woodson County, and not to be critical of Woodson County or Allen or Anderson, I'm on those gravel roads occasionally.
Well,
We don't want to go back to that level.
well, they're starving. I mean, you know, they've got some oil industry, but they're starving for industry in their county. They just don't have Greenwood County, one of the hugest counties, all the roads they have to maintain, and they just, you know, they can't hardly fix a culvert when it goes down.
But you take most of this oil, this squirrel sand oil, which is not real productive. Look at the tax dollars we returned there last year.
Exactly.
Look at the tax dollars we had to return because of the statutes that we gotta live within.
Yeah, people forget about all those
Well,
abatements.
they
and
probably
return-
don't.
Yeah,
90% of our citizens don't even know about that.
Exactly.
yeah.
And maybe that should be repeated.
Well, it
You know,
should, apparently,
It's a fact.
apparently it shouldn't have been charged in the first place for whatever reason, you know.
But I'm
Well,
not
the
sure.
the wells production went down by a certain amount, and so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
puts them under this big abatement from the state,
Right,
you know,
right,
which it trickles down to the county.
Yeah.
right.
So we can't deal with the rules and regs of the state.
On this mental wellness, last October, November, December, that accounts at $880,000. Never changed. No money went in that during receiving tax dollars.
Right.
And in May this year, when a lot of tax dollars came in, it went up 140,000. So where did that 140 that came into it, where'd that come from? That almost had to be tax dollars.
Yes. it
And then
would've
in
been.
December, there was no tax dollars. That's when the bigger share comes in. We've got some inconsistencies there.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that would be some interest, or, I'd have to look at that fund closer on
Yeah,
that.
I understand it.
This would be on an interest-bearing, money market or some type of thing like
Yeah.
that, would it not?
Well, I'm not sure.
But it should have changed last December too.
Well, March it went up,
Okay,
and then May it went up,
yeah.
You're
so,
talking about in '24?
yeah. Let me see if I can pull up anything on
Well,
that.
Well, between February and March, it went from 881 to 882.
you know, I stand to be corrected on that. The year it went up was in '23. When it went up in May, 140,
That was back in 23.
and then May this year, it just went up 1,000. I stand to be
Went up
corrected on
$1,000.
that. There is some inconsistencies on it.
Let me look, I'm gonna try to pull a report here to tell you exactly what's going on, if I can get it to open.
Between April and May, it went up another $1,000.
Yeah.
Must be, I bet that's interest.
But the bigger increase was in '23. And I have no idea why it would have jumped up.
Okay. Okay, it says cash transaction, let me get to tax apportionments. So, maybe yeah, it says tax apportionments is what it is.
Okay.
Taxes collected that goes into that.
So an amount, does that go, does that increase, does that amount of tax then go in every year? Is that a portion of a tax that is designated for mental health or?
I can't tell you exactly, I probably need to get Richard to do that for you.
I mean, that's fine,
That's not a sniff. Inside our total dollars, it's not a sniff.
I'm comfortable with either option 2 or 3. I mean, I guess I'd probably lean towards 2, but I'm not going to quibble over. I don't have a definite stand on that.
Well, so your option 3 is pulling
700,000.
700 instead of 600,000 out of it?
Right,
Because 600,000 is a mill, right?
right. So you're, from your option 1, at 57.914, if you were to go to option 3, you're dropping it 2.1 mils almost. And if you go to option 2, you're dropping it 1.8.
1.8.
So you're close to 2 there.
The dollars are taken out from 1 to 2s, you know, the $1,000,001. And the dollars on down to number 3s is taken out, basically taken out 200,000.
And from
Can we go down to the revenue neutral rate at this time? That's only 0.05 of 1%.
I know.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I was just looking at. Yeah.
1.052,
Yeah.
that amount to 40,000. That way, nobody could say, we're so close to it, then nobody could say we didn't go to revenue neutral rate. Oh, well, that's a plus
We
or
could-
not, I don't know. Because that's, the dollar amount, that's insignificant.
Yeah, the dollar amount.
And I'm not gonna, I don't wanna,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, we could do option 2 and add that 700,000 on, or get it to where we can get it down.
Oh,
So option
the
two,
interest.
option two doesn't entail a middle.
No.
So if you went with the middle off of option two, then that would.
With the
Option
increase.
2 has no mental in it, no mental money in it.
Right.
But if we left the option 2 with the more interest income,
Projecting the interest, right?
2.5 and 1.5 for 2024 and 2025, and then we took some of the middle, which would be less than the 700,000, you could get it to the revenue neutral.
Why don't we do it that way?
That's up to you.
And that way, and my point is that would still leave a sizable amount in mental health, which I still, I don't want to see it depleted. Because if we have,
It won't be depleted.
no, I didn't mean that, Jess. It would leave more in there for if the board were active and needed some funding for that.
I look towards Angie, she's been doing budget forever and ever and ever, and if she's comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with it. I mean, we're all gonna vote on it, but, I mean, I just don't want to set us up for failure trying to stay revenue neutral, because nobody's gonna remember this when 2 years down the road, you gotta raise it to 63 if nobody allows any industry in the county. You know, so I'm just throwing that out there, and so.
Yeah.
Said the nuclear plant would increase to 20 million next year.
But
And we have
decreases
no-
by 20.
That very possibly could lower the revenue neutral rate down next year. Then it's a harder target to hit.
Yeah.
So it's gonna do it this year. It could very easily be tougher to make it next year.
It could decrease by 20 million again next year.
Those, you know, our citizens have to understand, and like we said, we've all fully, we just don't, the unknown's out there.
We gotta try to plan forward on a lot of what ifs.
And this year, a lot of our residencies went up to 12 to 15%. I know I looked at mine again yesterday, and I didn't percentage it out, but I didn't have to percentage it out, see, it was all the ways above 10%.
Yeah, right.
Didn't have to look at it, just glance.
Yeah, I looked at mine and just put it in the drawer.
And we don't mean to be, people out there, we don't mean to be laughed at in any way, shape, or form.
It's not funny to any of us.
No.
That's the issue
It's
here.
better to laugh than to cry.
Yeah, because we're trying to do something positive to,
And just like Jeff said, Andrew, for what you've done for all these years and the way you understand it, much, much, much appreciated. And I know you understand where we're trying to go.
No, I do.
And you're somewhat agreeing, but we don't want to create a wreck.
Right.
Don't want to create that big wreck in the next year or 2 or 3.
Well, with,
But if we go to 2, we're within 0.05 of 1% of getting to the revenue neutral rate. Is that message being sent? Is that positive enough to go to there?
Which one, Don?
Go down
we
to.
took 2 and then we took enough money out of it.
Yes.
Mental
And I think
wellness
that's
to
where
get-
you
to
were.
get us
Right.
down to
I think
revenue.
that's where you were
Right,
headed.
We're
right.
out of general, I guess. It'd be out of mental wellness and general to get down to revenue neutral, wouldn't it? Just say you
Well-
took 600,000 out of mental wellness, and you'd have to pull the rest of that out of
we'd have to
general.
increase the interest income we think
Oh,
we'll
you'd
get.
interest.
Yeah,
I mean,
But-
spending money you don't have, but
Right.
I think that's a fairly sure bet. But,
yeah,
I mean, I feel comfortable with betting on that.
I think
I
that,
would,
yeah.
but,
I guess I'd be okay with doing that.
So, you're wanting to do option 2 then with the higher interest income? And use whatever else it takes out of that mental wellness to get it to the revenue neutral?
That's what I would
we just
support.
have to see what kind of dollars that is.
Yeah.
I mean,
see,
Well, it's gonna be under that 600, isn't it?
one mill's around 600, that's 500 so mil, that's only 30,000.
yeah,
Yeah, so,
If I've got stuff.
figured right.
So I'll have to, I'm not sure that you want to do that then, because I need to move all of that money to close that fund, to do it legally. I need to move all that money out of mental wellness and put it into general, create a department there, and then use that 30,000 or whatever.
Well, I mean, it'd still be the same thing as option
It
3.
will, but is it worth it for that
For that
$30,000?
$30,000, just.
Or
take
should
it
I
out.
just tell him to increase the interest income and,
No, it's, when you put it that way,
Yeah. That way, we still got the capabilities of using the mental next year,
right,
or possibly, you know, I mean, it's not locking that down in one fund that you can't touch, is the way I'm understanding. Once you move it out and create a fund under general,
well, you have more flexibility when it's in general.
right, but when you create a fund under general, then you still have more flexibility is where it's at now.
Right. Yeah, because where it's at now, we have to handle it differently than if it's in general. In general, you could,
I would, the amount that is there, I would want the future commission to be able to utilize that to do with whatever they deem.
you're talking the minimum.
Yeah.
So, that being said, then option 2 would be,
Option 2 would be increase your interest up more and take out, maybe 30,000 out of mental wellness. But Angie's saying, in order to take
Oh.
any dollars out of mental
She's
wellness,
got to- she's got to
gotta
close it.
close
transfer
it,
all of it.
move it over to general, and then create a department under general with mental wellness,
But
which would be easier to capture.
what would that be? Is there a downside to that? I can't really see that there is. What would be
No.
the harm? You'd still have that under, like a line item under general,
right,
correct?
right.
So why wouldn't we do that and stay revenue neutral for this year?
Yeah, I mean, we can do that.
I'd be 100% for that. We're not closing mental wellness down. We're just gonna close the account down, move it back to general, and then create a account under the general, under mental wellness,
so if
and
the
put the
funding,
money back in.
so if the funding is needed, then we'd still
Still
have
there,
access to
less
it.
It'd be easier to get to it.
Okay.
Less the 30,000
Yes,
was all
less
it
the
would be.
30,000
less.
or whatever.
Or whatever that number
Yeah,
may be.
so there'd still be 850,000 there
Right.
under the general,
Sure,
easy capturing the
We've got a lot of
30,000.
accounts under the general, so.
okay.
Yeah.
Under general, that's not gonna be an interest-bearing account, though, is it?
Well, any cash we have will
Goes in.
make it.
Okay.
Okay,
I think he's
I'm
got,
in favor of that, guys.
I'd go for that.
okay.
I'd go for that.
Okay, so I'm gonna get with Emily
Okay.
before you make any decisions. We'll look at
And
it one more
this
time.
is voucher today, so it gives you an
Yeah.
opportunity to do a little.
So I can go get with her and you guys can start checking vouchers and then
That
we'll.
sounds good. Boy, we about beat that to death.
Yeah, but I think we're having right.
I think
So, I'm,
if nobody
That'll work,
appreciates
but-
it, they don't appreciate anything, so. that's all I can say.
Yes, sir.
Tom's glasses work so good, I'm just gonna continue working them.
Well, he said he had several.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
recollection.
He's probably screaming at me.
Not till 8 o'clock tonight.
front page to sign.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think
This one's right there, has
Yeah, I'll pick the resident first.
Oh, excuse me.
We got quite a few guys selling corn down home. Dealers are all over the
Oh, I
place.
think they are. What's the Justin on?
Well, most of it's, that they're selling right now, it's all below 15.5. Somebody opening up a field, they may, you know, bid 17 or 18, so they just shut it down.
Said the ears are falling out?
If it is, I guess I didn't ask that question.
I thought you said there was ears all over the fields, but I maybe misheard you.
Oh, I think you meant.
So the yields are all over the place.
Oh, yields, okay.
70, 70 up to still some 150. There'll be some good river barley corn.
Talked to a guy up around south of the Sugar Creek, Missouri area yesterday, and he was showing corn. I think he said testing 16, but he said he's running between 190 and 210.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So,
Good,
that's good dirt up there.
Of course, the price is really.
Yeah, the prices of
Holy crap.
price, they beat that like a rented mule.
These are all out of this folder, I'll send the folder down
This
here.
whole file.
I can do that, I can just pass you the folder if you want.
Everything goes in agreements.
I see them have it doing that, but, you know, until I forget it.
I know production costs came down on corn, but not enough to compensate for $3 corn or $3 corn or whatever it may be.
I don't know how these beans are holding on as good as they are, but I'll tell you what, another few days and they've already gone backwards. They're gonna go backwards very quickly.
Yeah. Sure hope we can get some rain here in the next couple of days.
Is that, what, tomorrow night, pretty good chance?
They're talking a decent chance, it'll just be a hit and miss. And that reminds me, I didn't turn mine.
I thought I had one.
Oh, it did have it all.
Okay, she's gonna put something together here, she said it'll take her a little bit, and I said, well, you were trying to check some vouchers.
Okay.
We got all day, well,
Now, come on, buddy.
that hay will be fine laying out
Oh,
there. in the
it's
field.
done.
It's done?
Well, no, it's not done, but it's done for till hopefully after a nice rain. Got a half section left. About got her knocked. Nice and cool.
When we come back Sunday across I-70, there was a lot of trucks with blowed out tires.
Oh,
There's
man.
a lot of steer tires. A lot of steer
I'm
tires.
seeing more and more of those again now.
Steer cars?
Yeah.
That's not,
Bad
cool.
combo.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
All this stuff goes in there going on.
Pull that all down, the yellow one.
Passing the folder down with all. And like I say, I'll forget and change the system next week. It'll all be off, so, or next month or whenever.
Well, we won't come in next week till Tuesday, so. Vehicles are also high even after a discount.
Isn't that something?
Have any of you talked to Brad about setting up for cameras next Monday or Tuesday? Do I need to do that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And a speaker, that speaker is nice too,
Yeah.
they had down there.
And to your question, no, I don't think anybody has.
Okay, that's fine.
No.
I will,
I know,
I'll go let him
I know I
know.
have not.
Yes, okay.
Well, I scan this document, because that's basically all the vouchers, and go through and look for abnormal dollar amounts, in different areas, but I've got one question in here. There's a $35,000 check for Richard for SSM County CID bonds, SSM Coffee County CID bond word.
Yeah, we should have her refresh us on that.
You say that was approved by Richard, is that right?
Yeah, well, it's
I mean,
a check for him.
A check, oh, okay.
For his department or for Richard?
I can't say right off the bat, but I will. I guess I can't answer that question until I scroll through to see how the check is written.
What is it?
I go through this just to look at numbers, you know, the amounts of what checks are being wrote, and the only one that popped out at me was a $35,000 check for Richard Kroll. And it says SSM County CID bonds, SSM County, Coffee County CID bond word. I don't know what bond word, maybe, I don't know.
Do you want me to get them for you?
Yeah, if the check is made out to his name.
I can go get him if you want.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I guess.
This is all done.
Yeah, that finishes.
Oh, how did I stick that thing in there? I ain't even gonna attempt that. That's like putting a combine in the shopping cart. Might hurt myself with that clip. If it happens to slip off my
Boingo.
fingers, poke somebody's eye out. I don't know where this would be in this. Morning, Richard.
Morning.
I was scrolling through get my fingers short. I scroll through this because it's everybody's signature, and I don't look at the individuals. I scroll through to look at the numbers on each side, and I see a $35,000 check, and it says SSM County CID bonds, SSM Coffee County CID bond word. And I just pulled the voucher.
Right, that's it comes straight out of the bonds, it's the closing expenses. And so for doing the work on making sure that things, the 300,000 we started with, that we gave them as working capital, I guess, to start with, part of that is not what county money is. So they're paying that out of the CID bond money from them, so we get reimbursed. But anyway, Tyler up at Kutak and Rock and Joe and even Greg said, well, it's usually more than what we do, but that's what Tyler said. Anyway, for taking care of the expenses and making sure the county is not double dipping, or they're not double dipping on county money. I said that's part of what we pay people.
So this is county money, this is
No.
counties?
That's SSM money.
This is
But-
SSM money,
But
but
it's the $3.5 million is bonds that are to us, so to
Right.
account for it, so that it's not paid out to 3 different contractors.
Right.
And so it's not, so they're not making extra, which they did submit bills that were duplicates. And so that's part of what I do is check and make sure that things, kind of like what Wade is doing with the jail, when he's going through all that
Right,
stuff and checking, clarifying. So, I mean, just on that 300,000 was 25 hours worth of checking numbers, phone calls, emails, Zooms.
So
So
this
that's what
is
that's
reimbursed back to the county?
Yeah, I actually have a check in the other room that I just wrote back to the county for all of that and all the other closing costs, which is $80,735.60.
So why did it just be transferred
Because that's how we do it.
straight to the county?
We don't write checks out of that account to somebody. That looks more funny if I'm just writing checks to myself.
Okay.
And
Well, I mean, it'd be to Coffee County from that.
right, that's going to Coffee County. The 80,000 is, and that one pays me because that's not county type stuff, is what I was told. Like Wade, he's not getting paid for clearing up this stuff because that is our money. And we should be watching, quote, county money. This is SSM's money, so I'm considered an outside party,
So
and they
this
pay a
money,
third party
this
to
money
do that.
technically has been, the check's been ready to use, so it's your money to keep.
That one is.
So,
Is it whether I did it or if, somebody at the bank did it, if Walker was doing it, whoever, that's their money.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around this.
Okay, it doesn't matter, okay, regardless of who's doing it, 1% of the bonds goes to that person. Like I said, even if it was Joe Schmo that's just walking down the sidewalk, hey, we need you to verify all of these expenses, make sure they're not being double paid, so that, they're spending $1 million but getting reimbursed $3 million, because we're going to 3 different places. So that is for following up and clarification. The money that Wade was doing, that's already ours. That is our bond that we're trying to keep track of. And so they said, since it is your money, you should be taking care of your own funds anyway. We're not going to pay somebody within your organization to watch it. But this technically, while it is county money in a way because it's our CID, it is SSM's money in reality that we are giving to them. And so an outside source keeps track to make sure it's not double dip, double paid.
So your work on this was done 100% outside of
It's all over
county
the place.
line?
It's outside, it's inside.
Do you got documentation of outside?
No, it's,
I mean, you're paid by the county to handle county business, and if it's county business,
it's not technically county business. Somewhat yes, but somewhat no. Whether, like I said, if it's somebody walking down the sidewalk, they get the same money.
yeah, but they're not employed by the county, is what I'm saying.
Right.
You're employed by the county.
I only got to be here 1 day a year
Well, I understand
as an
that.
elected official.
Well, I'm not gonna argue that, but but this money could come back to the county.
It is coming back to the county. Right out of the $3.5 million.
The $35,000 check is coming back to the county.
Yeah, because it's not your money to start with. It's SSM's money.
Right.
They are paying somebody to take care of that.
Right.
The $35,000 is sitting on my desk with the rest of the closing costs, which makes $80,735.60.
So I understand this right. You're reimbursing the county for $35,000. This check.
Mm-hmm.
That's a check that you just said that you would reimburse it that's sitting on your desk.
Yeah, it's coming out of SSM's money.
Right.
That's what, I'm just trying to figure out that this check goes to you and that turns around, you write a check back to us, back to the county.
Well, I guess you need to figure out who's, there's a check coming out of the SSM closing funds that's paying for that.
I guess I don't care where the check is coming from, but this is a check from Coffee County
But we're being reimbursed,
to you,
Right.
is what you're saying.
Correct.
and then you're bringing it back in.
In other words,
Or is this
this is the way it's got to
$35,000?
be done, is that correct?
SSM is bringing it back.
SSM is paying back that $35,000.
Okay. But this is going directly to you,
Correct.
and you wrote a check back to us.
SSM has, I haven't.
You're getting $35,000 on top of your salary.
Correct.
He's getting 1% of that $3.5 million.
Yeah.
Is that? I don't particularly like the audit trail, because right now we don't have an
That's the way the audit trail goes. That's the only reason it's coming this way, as opposed to me just taking money out of the other account, which you never would have even seen. Which is the way they told it to get done. They said, yeah, just write a check out of there, and I'm like, that's a terrible audit trail.
And this way it gives a paper trail all the way back.
But in the end, you're being paid as a treasurer for Coffee County, and through the commission doing this with SSM, and you making sure that the bills are correct, which is part of the job that the commission gave to you because of the SSM project. You're paying yourself basically $35,000 on top of your normal salary.
Yes. Bobby said, well,
I don't
Joe
care who, I
said,
don't care who said.
Joe said somebody needs to take care of this, and then Bobby threw my name out there, and they said, all right.
Okay.
But this work is not what I'm supposed to be doing for the county. That's not county work, that could be whoever.
I guess I don't completely understand why it doesn't come back to the county. And I'm sure some of that work was done while he was on doing responsibilities here. I'm sure that's just a guess.
Well, if you want, I can go home and do all that work. I don't have to be sitting up here all day
Yeah.
long.
I mean, that's the facts of it there. Is, yeah.
I mean, if your location's a problem, I'll just leave.
Well, I mean, I guess, I don't know, what do you guys think? It's not my head, it's his head, not, I mean, it is my head, but it's his head.
I understand, or I think I understand where it's coming from.
No matter who would be doing this, this is what they would receive,
Mhm.
is what you just said.
But they
Right.
would not be employed by the county. That's where the double dip, that's where the, I
Yeah,
can't
but-
call it entitlement, but
It's kind of irrelevant.
I mean, Angie could have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody could have done it.
That's right,
Somebody could have done it,
right.
but I guess not knowing that it would be if I would have known it was gonna be a county, I mean, I knew it was gonna be a county employee doing it, because that's the way we set it up. But I guess if I had known that they was gonna pay 1%
I didn't know
To
they were
the-
paying 1%.
to the individual, I would have made darn sure that wasn't a county employee doing it, because it wouldn't have been, in my eyes, it's not right, but that's just in my eyes.
It's a perception. I mean,
Any idea, estimation of hours spent?
Like I said, it's between 20 and 25 is what I spent going through all the numbers with the first 300, which that's not even part of the 3.5 million. Because that was paid by some other piece. I think they had to pay that out of pocket, which wasn't the way it was written up in the beginning either. But because that's why Joe was unhappy with this line of credit being spent on payroll and other fees. But they didn't have money to spend. And that was my conversation with Joe was, look, these guys aren't going to be here to get the $3.5 million if you don't use some of this to pay for that.
Right.
And anyway, it was supposed to come out of this $3.5 million, which is why we wanted it to be more fixed costs, concrete things, as opposed to pie in the sky consulting business. But anyway, now they just went ahead and paid for that out of their bank account. But anyway, I asked Tyler, I said, so what is this other money for? He said, oh, that goes to whoever's taking care of the funding, whoever's watching, balancing the books, making sure it's paid to whatever. I said, well, I'm doing that. He said, oh, well, I guess it's yours then.
Which is the county. The county's doing it.
I think I probably understood it just be Joe doing all that information for us, or his business or company.
Well, I knew we was
Joe.
policing, I knew we was
Yeah.
policing
Yeah.
their vouchers, whatever you wanna say, to make sure it was falling underneath the guidelines of the money that it was proportioned to.
Yeah.
But are you ready for the fallout?
I don't have any fallout for it, but
Oh, there's gonna be fallout.
There'll be fallout.
I know my neighbors will bitch, but
Well, I can say personally, and it's nothing against you, 100%, I don't agree. You did probably 90% of it on county time, while we're already paying you to do the job of handling money. So, that's my personal opinion. Like I say, if I'd have known that there was gonna be money coming to a county employee that was already on our payroll, I would have ensured that it was somebody else doing it, because it just looks bad.
I didn't know it was either.
just looks bad.
Mhm.
So,
Somebody not associated with the county.
yes.
You were totally.
Even if it would have cost the county money, I would have much rather had somebody do it because of what it looks like. It looks bad.
Any idea, if you may have answered, I didn't catch it. Any idea how many hours were spent on doing?
We're not done yet. I still have $3.5 million to go through.
I'm sorry?
There's still $3.5 million to go through.
Just beginning.
So we haven't even started yet. I've already got 20 hours in on the 300. And I would assume,
So when that $3.5
Similar
million
wise.
comes, so you've got to document that?
Mhm.
Which that's the county's job to document that.
Is it in-
The way it's written up, it's your job.
Mhm.
Somebody's job. Well,
It is just clarification type stuff is all it is. It's record keeping.
But the county owns the bonds, right?
Yeah.
So it's county.
Well, we issued the bonds, more
Right,
or
so
less.
it's county.
it's just,
We'll get majority signatures on it, I'll sign the check, but until then, I'm not. I've got enough fallout. I guess it doesn't matter to me, but it's, and this is it, this would be it, there would be no more.
Yeah. Mhm.
This is for the total, correct?
Mhm.
For this or any other deals that come down to two.
I don't mean to call you out, Richard, I just seen it in there and it was just something I
No,
wanted to
that's
get
all right.
clarification on, but that's,
If I wanted to
That's-
slip it through, I would have slipped it through, but
That-
that's not what I'm trying to do.
that's
I
like
agree.
me coming back after the fact. I'm a commissioner, I get paid $30,000 a year, and I know that going into my role, I handle everything county that I can. If there's over, beyond and over, that is part of my job. Mow 8 acres every week, March through November 1st, and collect 1 penny. It's part of my job to ensure that it doesn't cost the county money. And I'm fine with that, but doing a job that the county puts bonds out for a project that's coming to the county from Kentucky, and you agreed to handle this, and now you expect to get paid for it outside of your normal wage.
I was told they're getting paid after
Well,
the fact. That's,
I mean,
I don't
that's-
care, whatever you wanna do, if you don't wanna pay me, that's fine.
But I'm just expressing my
Mhm.
my.
Oh, I
feelings.
understand.
And I asked if you wanted to go down this rabbit hole and the fallout. So it's the county's bonds. It's best to have insurance that it is being done correctly, so we have so we don't have any fallout towards the county that jeopardizes the bonds or the credit rating of the county, which more better person to do that other than the treasurer, in my eyes, or somebody else that you hire to do
Yeah.
for this money,
An outside person.
an outside person to ensure that it's done correctly. And then on the backside of it, you know, I can hear if it was up front and you said, I'm gonna do this at home, I'm gonna keep track of my time, turn in my time, pay me for my time off, this is what I do as a hobby, whatever, I would have been skeptical of it, but
The way it stands, if it had been an outside person, I wouldn't have had any problem with it, but,
no problem.
but I'm really uncomfortable with this.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
that's why I'm going this way. It's whatever you guys think. I'm just telling the way it was.
Well,
So
and
if you don't wanna
being honest.
do
is the
it,
best
go
way
ahead,
to say it.
autograph the thing and just void it, because it's already in the system, so. Or put void on, I guess it doesn't matter.
I mean,
I think it needs to be done that way.
you haven't,
Even if it's been an outside person, we don't want them to be involved in our record keeping here either. And to what extent they would be involved in our record keeping, I don't know. The
Well,
$3.5 million, is that gonna be one check that'll come through that'll be deposited to SSM? Or is that gonna be a combination of 15 or 20?
So this is the money that you
Smaller
guys
checks.
signed that Walker would take care of. Walker would be autographing county funds.
and you
That's what
didn't like
you got.
that. I
No.
remember you said you didn't like that, so you wanted to take
And
it
so
over.
it's no longer that way, which Walker would have just written me a check and you guys never would have known. Because it's not technically the county money.
Yeah, this came
It
from
is SSM's money.
That's
The
why.
only backing the county has is, yeah, we're the ones that are gonna be behind issuing instead of the FDA or USDA, whoever, whichever one you want to have. All these different loans, they have the same thing going on with them. Whoever's taking care of that they're getting their payment. So on this, whether I was sitting in this chair or my chair at home at my office, that's the only reason why I said I don't have a problem accepting it, because it's outside of taking care of the county's books, the $76 million that the county has right now, that I'm trying to make sure we have enough money and we have a decent budget. Here's how much income's generated. Tell you what, I won't even charge you to fix my office. My wife and I did that for free. So I'm trying to save money for the county. It's not like I'm trying to get in our pockets. That's money that was going to somebody else.
That's my thought on it.
And so that's why I didn't have a problem taking it. But if you don't feel like it's due, then void the thing
I
and we'll
don't know
go
that
on.
I don't know that I don't feel that it is due. I'm just. I would like to have some time to think about it. Monday?
That's up to you guys.
I know Monday's a big day, but I need Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, I mean.
Yes.
You do a good job.
Sorry.
Don't take what I'm saying
No,
as to be,
No, I'm very happy with that, I am, I know.
I've come to you for advice and thought and I just, the fallout on this is just, it's huge. I just,
then void it, it's okay.
do what?
Then just void it, it's all right.
No, I want some time to think about it. I do. I need some time to think about it. I want everybody to think about it and make the right decision. And I want you to think about it and
This was done outside of county business.
this was business, this was county business
But
to ensure that the funds are being appropriately spent, that the county put their neck on the line.
because if it hadn't been Richard, then
It's gonna be somebody
it
else.
was going to be,
It was gonna be Walker.
it was gonna be Walker.
And it doesn't matter who, it's not like it's really county money. Granted, we issue the bonds, but that's as far as it goes. I mean, everybody issues bonds.
Right.
No,
So-
and I remember you questioning, and I don't have a problem with Walker. Walker probably would have done a fine job, no doubt in my mind, and that was set up originally Walker. And then you come in and said, oh, I don't like, yeah, we ought to have somebody in the county doing this. you know,
He's not the one,
basically.
paid to write checks.
Right, and so,
Right.
And so it's not to write the checks, it is to verify expenses.
if you would've told me
Building
it was gonna
for.
pay $35,000 at that point in time, I would've
Raise
said.
your hand and say, hey, I can do that.
Yeah. Put me in,
I
coach.
didn't know it at the time either.
Right.
I wasn't
You're providing
expecting
the
it.
audit, under this circumstances, you're providing the audit trail in my mind.
Mhm.
That
Right.
is absolutely needed. The only question I'm walking on both sides of the fence. I know when I was at the Elver 35 years, I handled a lot of money. If something like this would've came by, I would've endorsed a check over, never asked a question, or the next board meeting, I was down the road.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it would've been. And in general practice of business, I don't, in my mind, probably wouldn't have been allowed. But that's just my one situation, know exactly what would happen, and justify it. So I'm walking on both sides. Totally appreciate what you're doing.
And I want
Whatever
you to
direction.
continue, I mean, I do.
Well, I don't mean I'm leaving.
No, I mean.
So that I can easily be gone most of the day and go sit at home and do other stuff.
Eat bonbons and walk soap operas, right?
Well, do more financial stuff and, as opposed to turning clients away.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right.
But I sit here from 7:30 to almost 5:30 just about every day,
Mm-hmm.
unless I gotta go play golf.
Gotta
Tuesday
have
afternoon.
priorities. Gotta have priorities.
Tuesday afternoon needs a couple hours.
And I don't mean to put it on the other commissioners,
So-
but, I mean, we get majority of it, I'll roll it through. But, I think we need to think on it, my personal opinion. If you're,
At the time, we was talking about here a while ago, at what point in time did you know that 35 was coming to you? So, you were unaware
It was
of
well
any
after,
funding coming
didn't-
to you until,
Well,
most of the way through the clearing the first 300 grand. Because I was on the phone with Tyler asking about, well, what are all these different closing expenses? And that's when I asked about, what is this business? He said, because I'm making sure where money's going. So that goes to whoever's verifying the numbers. They're just doing your audit stuff. So well, that's what I'm doing. Oh, I guess that's yours. And then I was talking to Joe and questioned something. He said, well, that's why you're paid the big bucks.
so if that's the point in time when you knew it was.
I don't mean to make it out to be anything bigger than what it is, I just see the fallout, so.
I don't, absolutely don't either.
When I scan through that report, that way I don't have to look at each and every voucher, you know, and I just look for big numbers, and if there was a big number, and that's where it comes from, so. I will lean to my fellow commissioners and I'll think on it. So, if they sign it, I'll sign the check.
I think I need to think on it.
Yeah,
We don't want we just don't want it to set very long, or either.
No, we can take care of it Tuesday morning.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. I think we need time to process it.
That's where I'm at right now, Rich.
yeah, no worries.
Appreciate it.
I'm here. You know, we're fine.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Yep.
So, my question for Angie would be, do we sign this?
That checks within that one.
Yes. But everything is within this one.
I mean, it's in the total of that number, unless you want me to void it, and then if you decide to do it, reissue it. I don't know.
So if I void the check, we can reissue a check Tuesday if we decide to go this route.
And then we can void it on there.
Then we can void it on the amount, we can go through and finish out signing the checks and vouchers for everything else. Okay. Okay. We'll hold that for Monday, Tuesday.
Right,
Then-
wherever it's at in there.
I lost that place. I got named again. And so we're just gonna take this total and take $35,000 off it.
Mhm. Yeah. And we can reissue if you want, whatever you want to do. That way we don't.
But we could go ahead and, I can go
Yeah.
ahead and sign this then. You might need a break.
Yeah.
I'd like a 10-minute break.
Yeah.
We'll come back at, 10:22.
I'll just take a 2.5-year break, thank you.
I'm fine with discussing it, or, I mean, it's a.
Executive session.
We can.
No, we
He's
can't.
elected official.
Well, that's
can't.
right.
And this is one that's already brought out anyway.
Yeah.
The whole thing is there's nothing wrong with what,
There's nothing illegal or wrong.
there's
about
nothing
it,
illegal
but-
or wrong, but on the other side of it, it is wrong. Does that make any,
In my eyes, it's double, in my eyes, it's. The county issued the bonds, the county has the credit. It is the county's responsibility to ensure that everything that goes through that bond deal is done and done correctly. And I agree, which better way to do that is to make sure it's an county employee, it's the treasurer doing it. If I would have been told that it was gonna take extra time for the individual or for somebody to do that, and they would get paid for that, I would understand that at the beginning, but on the backside of it, to find out that somebody's gonna pay themselves $35,000.
but the point is we have other elected officials that are working outside,
Their realm of
I mean,
title.
right, that aren't being compensated. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this. If it was an outside source, so be it.
I agree.
But this, I don't know how to handle it, but I can't justify it.
Yeah, I mean, there's,
I don't know how to handle it either. I don't particularly like an outside source either.
Oh, no. This was the correct way to go because that's what Richard does. It's not that. And Richard, it wasn't that,
I mean, of course, obviously, it's gonna be on YouTube, and I need to clarify, it's not our money being reimbursed by the company. It's not our money.
that's right.
Companies would pay this to anyone. I just wanna clarify that. Whatever we decide to do,
And that's correct.
It's not our money.
It's not our money that's being involved, and if it were someone else outside of the scope of the county, they would be getting this money just the same. The problem is that
It's a county employee.
it's a county employee it's a double-edged sword, but
but he is an elected official, so they have the flexibility to do what they want with their time. Does that make it comfortable with the rest of us? No, probably not, but that's, that's, I get both sides of it.
I do too.
Wade said give him a few minutes. So.
I think we need to make a decision today, and not.
Yeah,
I just do.
put that off.
I mean,
Tuesday's gonna be fun
I keep
enough.
working on these,
Yeah, you,
everybody.
they'll just have to
Can we
review
get
the
our brain
total.
working again for a minute here now?
Well, what is it? Oh,
Can we reorganize our brains for a minute?
Probably no way to get this returned, and it's not a lot of dollars either, though, Angie.
Say what, I'm sorry?
$1,345. But we got a late charge at $29 and finance charge at $733.
What's going on?
Evidently didn't
Hold on
get.
one second.
Is that a credit card?
It's noxious weed.
Okay, I can see if, Jessica or they can get that removed. Get it credited back. Let me go.
Or, oh yeah, 29 and or 7.
Okay.
How much was it?
$29 and 733. Current was 733 at 29. It's-
They didn't pay the finance charge.
Okay, that's just what I was.
No, I have to email like 3 or 4 for different ones because
Now, this is 1345, and I should have added that up a little bit quicker than what I did, Jessica.
they're not paying for it. They said I have to email
Okay.
the credit card company because the snail mail.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened.
Well, I
It
know,
got
I
here
know,
late and
We'll
then
get a bill that's overdue before. it
and we
gets
even
here.
did a special issue.
And you're right, with the way the mail is right now, you may send something today and 10 days later,
Yeah.
nobody's
We're
received.
getting an overdue bill in the mail that we mailed last week, is what
Exactly.
happens to us.
Yeah.
Let's see, you add all 4 of these deals up, and it does add up to that number
But
there.
that's not what we're paying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you're
Thank you.
welcome. No problem.
Yeah, we get credit card statements in the mail, and the day you get it, it's supposed to be back to them, and
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
you have two choices, you either do an ACH, call them and do an ACH, or you send it off
Yeah,
and get hammered service charges, late fees,
yeah.
everything else.
Charge you a late fee because you didn't pay the late fee.
Yeah, yeah. We're having so much trouble with the IRS on, we've got credits back in 2021, we've got stuff back in 19, our account is so messed up with them. And every, it takes an act of Congress to talk to a normal person, or a person, a human, up there, and, it's talk to one person, they say, oh my, your account is all jacked up. Well, let's fix it. About ready to call them and say, you're not getting another dime from me until you figure this out, and I know how that'll work.
Yeah, they will get more dimes. They
Yeah,
want that.
yeah.
That'll work.
They'll come down and lock the place up and put a bad article in the paper about me being a bad guy,
Yeah,
not paying my taxes.
add it to the list, right?
Yeah, add it to the freaking list. Stand in line.
Those towers get in the money pretty quick.
It is. This was the first payment. I think.
25%.
Yeah, 25%.
You know, one thing that I was gonna say that I forgot when we was doing the budget deal, we gotta keep in mind that we've got jail to pay for.
That's right.
So, when we're sitting here looking at the budget and we're trying to stay revenue neutral, you've got a jail that you're gonna be paying for, you can't pay it out as bond proceeds, so it's gotta come out of the budget,
Gotta come from something.
so something to think about. I was gonna say that earlier before we went that direction, it left my head, but that's something that we easily forget about.
I knew this would be on the job training, but I didn't realize.
See, 4 years is not enough, I can assure you that.
I probably should have said that, but holy smoke.
Oh. Well, even when you're here, it's hard to know what the heck's going on.
I know.
Too many what ifs and possibilities down the road.
I guess in my thoughts, when somebody signs, I would appreciate a signature rather than initials, so we know who that is and what department that is.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes if you read the whole thing, you can figure out in there what department it was, but I think a signature if you're charging something, or you turn in a ticket,
Legible signature,
yeah.
I would be, I want that, so we can read my signature, but you can print your name.
Yeah. It's not that I'm questioning all of them, I mean, obviously we're questioning all of them, but just be a whole lot easier to know who it was that okayed that, you know.
You know, that KP&F deal, for the police, you know, for the county officers, you know, that was an extra $1 million a year going out.
That's right.
You know, I mean, you just sit here and start playing things back, $1 million here, $1 million there,
Right.
100,000 to this company that wants to come in and do some assistance, and it adds up.
Yeah.
And real quick.
Real fast.
One, aside from the benefits to the officers and being able to retain them, one thing that I recall from that discussion was that it would allow people to retire earlier who are at the top of our pay scale, who, because of their age or physical capabilities, may be at a desk rather than
Right.
out patrolling, so we've got...
And that's correct.
So there would be some savings on the back end of it eventually, it would seem to me. You know, because we would have younger, more able officers, hopefully, and you wouldn't, someone might not stay on if the retirement was available and their physical capabilities had diminished.
From a business standpoint, I would look at it, if you offer a KP&F deal, you could probably reduce your wages a little bit and still attract good quality, just because of the KP&F.
Right.
But that hasn't happened either, so,
No.
and probably won't.
Yeah, we don't seem to be swamped with applications though,
Right.
like everybody else
But this
trying
should
to hire
help,
any.
this should help on the application side or
Yeah.
the availability of.
Could you imagine, Wade, if first you could offer a truck driver a KP&F and say you're gonna drive a truck for 20 years and be able to retire?
Oh, yeah.
You know how many people would sign that job?
But by the same token, they're not carrying, well,
I agree. I mean,
they're not carrying a gun for,
they're not risking their life.
they're not right.
Yes.
And
I agree, but just hiring in general, if you could use
Oh.
that as a benefit, you could throw
Oh,
health
yeah.
insurance clear out the window.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll be out of here in 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheriff's Department is fully staffed right now, but that $1 million is probably a little more than that now since he is fully staffed.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll be able to maintain that staff, and I'm sure we are.
And here's $1.4 million to radio towers.
Right.
How much was that happened while I was gone? How much?
That's
was
25% of it, so the towers, 1.4 is 2,856, a little less than $6 million for those towers. But there was already money set up too, not quite enough set aside.
But a good portion of it, right?
Yeah. I forget what was set aside, but there's.
This was the first payment on, once they sign the contract with Motorola, then that money, and then whenever they start getting the equipment in, then there'll be another payment. And then I can't think of the schedule on it, to be honest, but that's the way it was set up. And they thought that the first equipment would be arriving in 14 to 16 months, I think, and that's just a rough.
Well, I think I talked to Tom Hugan about it, and he said by the time the tires go up, what was being allowed would already have it paid for.
Right.
The minute that, voucher, the minutes were with it, so, here's from Burns and McDonald. 304 hours, $265 an hour, 80,000.
Mm-hmm.
Hope we can recoup everything that engineering firms are doing for us.
I don't know. It's industry.
I didn't sign it after I read it 3 times. I had to pull back and forth and look at the numbers to get them totaled up.
Yeah, so that's, I
I'm
know
sure
our
I know you
equipment in that,
see
yeah. That's out of our realm, must be bulletproof. I mean, I wonder, maybe it is.
What is it?
Dog harnesses for 2,200 a piece. But, it's tactical, it says, so I
Yeah.
wonder if it's not bulletproof.
It could be, but it's like anything else, anything that's
Has that
technical,
spec.
has that spec.
Oh, I'm not,
Not questioning.
no,
No,
just wonder, just baffled by the cost of that
Right.
stuff, I guess, is, I'm not questioning it. Angie, I made the statement, and I don't know if I'm being reasonable or not, but when everybody, signs a ticket or something, for me, it would be really nice if they signed it rather than initials,
Oh, okay,
legible signature.
okay.
I don't know if that's anything that's too much to ask, I guess, but I mean, sometimes you have to search through this whole packet to try to figure out where this stuff went or who okayed it.
Sure, okay, I can send a message out now.
If we could ask that, I would appreciate it.
Okay,
A lot of few departments put a stamp on it, but
Yeah, like some of them, the sheriff's department puts a star on there, but that doesn't say who signed for it, but
still doesn't,
regardless, that's,
it doesn't say
the sheriff's department's a different situation anyhow, because that's a separate budget, correct? I mean, they pretty much spend their own money,
yeah,
correct?
from their department, it's under
Right.
general.
Yeah,
gonna prepare a $1 check here and put it on a 70-cent stamp.
I
$1.
don't want anybody to think I'm complaining,
Right.
it would just,
Wade texted me, he'll be up here in about 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Why you gotta give me another one?
Trying to get a handprint.
Had another meeting up there on 50 Highway yesterday.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had proof rolled that shoulder, and they proof rolled it Monday. And, it had to pass 90% or better, which, whatever I don't know how they calculate it. They used a water truck, and I think it weighed like 58,000 pounds. And they took it off on the side of the shoulder, you know, on the spot where they had the base rock, and then the high side was the road, and they drove it down the shoulder, the whole length. And where they had failure on the base, they marked it and then kept on going on, and they started paving to seal off the spots that passed, which there's a large portion of it that passed.
Yeah, and that gets it sealed,
And it gets
protected from the water.
Protected
then.
from the water, and so, I went up there yesterday and I seen a bunch of unevenness and stuff, and which I called, I knew Ryan was gone, so I called Adam, and he brought Adam and God, another one, I can't remember his name. But anyway, and then we had one of CFS engineers and the county guy that used to work for the state. He was an engineer for years up there with them. He come over and we had a meeting, and the reasoning behind the whoops, I call it, in the pavement, the asphalt, is because they have no, I call it unevenness. I thought it was because it was sinking down, you know, pushing the asphalt down. It's because they have no border along the asphalt when they're paving. So their paver's up on the road, and then they've got a widener that comes over, but it doesn't go all the way down to the ground, and there's no footing there, I guess I should say, or a board to hold the asphalt there when the roller rolls over it. If they go too far to the edge, it just pushes the asphalt out. So when they come over with the bad spots, they're going to go in and dig them out. So they stop asphalting the shoulder when they get to a bad spot and go around it and seal up everything that's passing. And so I'm pretty confident. There's a lot of rumors going around up there that it's junk and so on and so forth, but I'm getting more confident in it. And so I was irate for a little bit because I didn't know they had proof rolled it. I seen them put asphalt on it. And I flew up there just as soon as I knew they was putting asphalt on it, and I want to see, you know, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's coming along,
So the end result is still going to be,
I'm gonna be comfortable with the end result. And they're digging out the bad areas, and I believe they're putting asphalt in the bad areas.
I see.
So they're digging out all the dirt and rock and just putting asphalt.
They're still not doing that last mile.
Still not doing the east mile. No, and now that it's took the time that it took, and it's gonna take more time, I just wish they would've went ahead and
Wish you went ahead and done that
done
now.
it.
Right.
but at the time, Jess, the thought was, why
We thought we were gonna know a year ago.
You know,
why do anything until,
we know what's going on
Right.
with the industry, the park. Yeah.
have you had any communication with Dr. Wyatt or anything, or who? Dr. Carl Wyatt?
No, I have not.
I was just curious.
I think today was a meeting at 10, but of course I can't be on it because I'm here. Angie, I don't know if he was in here when I made the remark to the guys about, we've got a jail to pay for too. And, when you're thinking on budget and the mill levy and stuff like that, you gotta consider the jail payment is millions of dollars a year too, isn't it? So, I just wanted to keep that in mind, 'cause I might not always be here. I might not be here, so. Just food for thought, I guess. Which, I know you think about it, but it's just something I told them, and something to think about.
But those monies are already designated for that purpose, is that not right?
Yeah, we've got in that fund,
See, it's got 13 million in it right now, and it's got another, well, after fees and everything, it'll have another 9 plus. And that's what it's designated for, so hopefully everything's balancing out.
We've got a fund for the jail payments, is what they're saying.
Right. It's on your sheet there,
Yeah, I think it's down for.
111.
So on the other set of bonds, when we're left,
19 million. No, that's jail construction project.
Yeah.
You can't pay the payment out of the jail construction project.
That's what we've called it. That's what we've called that fund.
Where's the jail fund? Where's the bond money?
In there.
It's in that 13.498 right now. Jail construction. That's our
But you can't make the payment, you can't make your payments out of that fund, because that fund is for building the jail. You're gonna have payments on the bonds coming due. You can't pay that out of
Right.
the construction.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I misunderstood you there, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we've already sent one payment to the bond we've already paid one payment on the bonds. And I think that come out of general, right?
oh, I see where you're at.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause this 111 is just 100% construction only.
100% construction.
Yeah, you can't make the payments to pay back the bonds out of that.
I misunderstood what you were.
Yeah, me too.
You're talking about paying back the bonds.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I apologize.
I'm making a note to ask Emily that too, so we can see.
Well, I think we've already made a payment.
Yeah.
Because I think Richard come in and said, where do you want me to make the payment from for the bond payment? Because you can't pay it from the construction.
Right.
And so we should be able to see where that payment comes from.
Should be all, quote that may be coming out of jail. Or where the interest.
I thought
I
we
think
brought
we
it.
made a bond. See if I can find it.
I just misunderstood you.
No, that's all right.
I I did too, I was with
I was
you,
thinking-
Steve.
Need to make a jail bond payment.
I think we did.
We did?
I think so. I just gotta find it here.
There's quite a few of those, dollar amounts that's not on that one page either.
Oh, on the funds?
I think I used an old one.
Hi, Wade. We've got some fun for you.
Fun is,
Your middle name and
my department, I guess.
Okay. I was going through, I'd say it's called the general budget, or the general courthouse box, and all that's been taken at the moment, but I was flipping through there, I looked through the vouchers, I don't look through each individual vouchers, I look for the summarized deal where it's all on one. And I look for big numbers, and then I look to see what, scroll down, big number, $35,000, look over to the left, it's Richard Kroll. Says something about bonds, anyway, so on and so forth.
Do you have it pulled to the side?
Oh, I forgot.
So anyway, we called Richard in and said, "What is this?" And at first I thought he was saying he reimbursed the county for that. So I was thinking, well, it's a wash, no big deal. But in return, it is a payment from the bond closing to administer and to ensure that the funds are being spent appropriately, that doesn't affect the bond that the county put forth, their good name. It's for him to do the work.
Auditing it, basically.
Auditing.
Basically,
And-
creating an audit trail is what it's doing.
And in effect, it is a wash for us because that's being paid by the company for the auditing. But I think the dilemma is that, or the concern is that work's being done by a county employee.
An elected official.
Sure. So,
But originally, let me, before you, originally it was set up Walker Triple, which I don't have a problem with Walker auditing that. Richard brought to us saying, I don't think Walker should be doing it, I think we should be doing the audit of the funds.
Right.
Which in turn brought it to him.
Which makes sense because that's
It's our name.
our bonds,
It's our
basically.
bonds.
We're backing it, correct?
Yes.
We're backing the bonds.
so I don't have the documents in front of me, but within the closing document for that particular project, several different entities, individuals received some sort of compensation for their part in the project. So one would have been Kutak Rock, that was included. That's Joe Serrano for his services to navigating as bond counsel. If I recall, Greg Berenberg was one for his role in the process, and then the county had its place. Now, how to that particular agreement and documentation and how it's to be applied, it might be beneficial if I can get a hold of Joe Serrano to explain what that money is for and how it's to be deployed and how it's to be utilized, I think that's probably the best way to do that, because there was a recommendation during the negotiation that the county receive funds for its part in the process.
And he did say there's like 90-some thousand sitting in there that was reimbursement back to the county.
Yeah.
But I was under the impression that this was part of the 35, and it wasn't. This is 35 straight to Richard.
This is 1% for the
1% of
audit
the
team.
ball.
I would have to talk with Joe Serrano about that part, because I'm not exactly sure about the mechanics of. I knew the numbers were there, and then I was under the understanding it came to the county, but I didn't know that there may or may not be an issue with that. If he's had that communication, then it probably needs to be explained in a way where it makes sense to you and makes sense to everybody else.
I don't believe there's anything that was done wrong. It just doesn't look right.
Sure. And that's why it needs to be explained in a way where I'm not going to do a good job of explaining it. I was a part of the process. I knew money was coming to the county for the county's role in the administration side of this project and those funds. But where exactly that money is supposed to go, that's where it needs the clarification. Does that make sense? So if you'll give me, and I see it was voided for now. It's not.
Well, we voided it because we wanted to go through and finish signing the vouchers. And I said, if we get enough signatures on it, we can roll with it. I'll sign the check, but I wasn't gonna be the one signing the check until we got clarification. And I'm fine with it. The fallout's on him.
Well,
My thing is, he's a county employee. If it had been anybody else, he's a county employee, he's paid for his time here. And he
Sure.
probably worked on it 90% of the time while he was here under his normal wage of the county.
And so far, that's only 20 hours.
Yeah.
Now, how many more hours is it gonna take to finish it?
Well, let's just
If
start.
if it takes 100 hours, that's $350 an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it ain't gonna take them 100 hours.
There'll be a lot of checks. There'll be a lot of vouchers.
Yeah, but the audit trail won't take long. There's no way the audit trail
I just wanna make sure it's.
well,
We spent about 20 minutes here with Richard, and the perception, to me, the perception
so
is not positive.
So, if you give me a moment to see if I can address, at least try to get Joe Serrano on the phone. And I'm not sure if he's available, if he is or isn't. But if I understand, your point is the money is coming to the county, and
No.
you sort of have you have two different.
The money come to the county, then it come out of the county to him.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I get
okay.
that. So it's coming to the county as a part of this
Closing.
SSM project and for the purpose of the administration of the funds that the county is responsible for. So in that respect, could it be viewed as a duty and responsibility outside of the normal duty and responsibility of the treasurer?
I would agree it is.
But what does that look like, and how does it, is the value what the value is there? And that I don't know. So it may be a situation where it needs to be discussed, and I'm not sure, you guys threw me for a curveball when I walked in, so I didn't know what I was walking
Yeah.
into necessarily, but this is just me.
Us too.
So,
Us too.
does the money go back into the county general fund, and then for hours that are used to administer, then a voucher is requested to the commissioners that will be pulled from that 35,000? Is that something that could work? I don't know. I'm just talking out loud now. So let me make a call.
Okay. We'll let you phone a friend. Sorry, wait.
Nope.
This is your one phone call.
Sorry. One phone call.
Don't forget the paperwork.
I have a sleep weed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I woke up at 4:45 this morning. Oh, it wasn't good.
My rake man's gone, so I was rake man, baler man, and then my son went and swapped a bunch of, we'll call it extra acres on his property. And I went and raked that for him, and wowzer. Yeah.
I always said the mower needs to be the raker. I've always said, because you know how you mow it.
Well, actually, it wasn't mowed too bad, but this terrain was quite challenging.
Quite challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got it, and if I wouldn't have raked it for him, single windrow, he wouldn't have got done baling with a round baler.
How is the hay quality? Good?
Yeah, except for that stuff.
Right.
But it had a different purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, the hay quality's pretty good this year. But the hay market's kind of like the grain market is right now.
It's not very good.
It's not very good.
Yeah, I was really surprised when I saw the grain markets, how they, I don't keep up track of them like I used to, and my word.
Beans, one word, quality.
Oh, wow. I must have sure corn would be a $3 market for you.
Yeah, it's far enough above three, I don't think that'll happen, you can't rule it out.
You can't go without.
You can't rule beans out seven, they're calling seven now.
Yeah, I know it. And I don't mean that I think we're just not in harvest yet. And once the harvest pressure comes along, I mean.
Well, we spend so much on technology. Cell phones, memberships,
Yep.
Oh,
dues, fees.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a couple invoices. August 21st, August 19th. That's a neon, this came through Gulf County Airport's one location, it appears. They're neon signs, are they up yet? Have you seen anything up in that area?
I haven't. Is that the new signage that they're putting up? Or the,
Well, here's one for $75.50 and we're paying deposit applied. Here's one for $8,060, half of it's paid.
Oh, okay,
Is
okay, that's what it's
For
for
the
billboards.
billboards? That's,
On 35.
Yeah.
yeah, there were what, one or two or three of those billboards?
Yeah,
too. that
We talked
did.
about that here a couple,
We did the one at the one by the airport.
And then the one on
the
I-35 that the state
west
said.
slash southbound.
Right.
I
lane.
mentioned they were neon. I don't think they're neon because they're just from a neon company.
Okay, when you said neon, it threw me off, but
But I think that's what it is, is
They're just from
billboards.
a neon
Yeah.
company.
I can't remember, the one on I-35, the state requested that we
Yeah.
give us so much.
That is owned by Raylan Phelan, I think, from Melbourne.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Well, those chairs that much a piece.
Probably. See what we do.
Let's see, they went to this much.
If they're dispatch chairs, yes, they are. I mean, they're gonna be.
$5.
Uh,
$5.
kinda like buying a
Like
truck seat.
$200.
Somebody spends a lot of time in it.
if somebody spends a lot of time in it,
And these were over $200 a piece.
No kidding.
yeah, they're, any quality chair, and if you're getting it in for someone that makes their living in that chair,
Yeah.
I think I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are.
Of course, truck seats are rare, but they're 800 to, my God, you can spend
2,000.
2,000
Yeah.
on them if you want to.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying that that's the way it is for that quality of chair.
I didn't realize these was that expensive. I knew they'd be expensive. I didn't realize.
Did you look up, VIP office chairs at Staples?
Oh, did you?
Or you probably don't have the receipt from when I bought
Oh,
this.
yeah, we do. Gotta get to that.
These are pretty comfortable.
They were, I got them in my office.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I got mine in the office.
I knew they'd be pretty expensive. I didn't realize it's quite that level.
They'll last, they will last for, well, depends on how things go. Y'all's will last forever.
That's long enough for me.
Yeah.
They're pretty nice.
I like seeing receipts from mom guards, I do.
Yeah.
Supporting local.
And that's really a nice store.
I gotta stay out of it. I spend too much
Oh.
time on it. Go
They
ahead.
have some
I'm like,
stuff in
oh,
there now.
looky there.
Yeah.
It's just like going to Blue Stem almost, and you go to
Yeah.
Blue Stem and holy smoke.
I need that.
They're pretty darn competitive on a lot of stuff, I
They
think.
are.
Well, you can't drive the Emporium for it.
Oh,
What you about there?
Well,
It's a
they're
well-stocked,
not-
it's a well-stocked store, and it's got quality products in it.
Well, Blue Stem's not, they know what their competition is on different items. They're not cheap on a lot of things. It's just my
It's just the
opinion.
availability.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
go in there and
and
get
it is,
anything that you want.
And they're a good source too, I don't mean that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I like to buy here.
I need to start selling pallets. Here's one, here's a pallet deposit, $25.
Ooh. That'd make you want to not lose all your pallets.
Yeah, wouldn't want to throw them in the fire. huh?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, you're not supposed to burn them. That's it.
Ah, boy, insurance bill. Get that.
Start quarterly payment.
$200,000.
I think that's quarterly, because we're paying them
Yeah.
$280 a year or something.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, you know.
was my thought.
Translation, $1,100. I'll get a smaller weight.
Well, this pile is, I don't know what he's got left to send
I'm just over here going through this big pile, waiting on you to get through that one. Well, we've had a few interruptions. Well, you didn't think you was gonna get out of here early, did you? Well, I had hoped so.
Okay, Staples, let's see, when did we get these tours? 22?
What's milestone?
What can I borrow this 20 or 21?
It's a pass to her to
Did
sign.
it give you back?
It's a combination of,
Oh, you did?
No, I paid for it.
it's a pass to her
That's all
to
right.
sign.
Oh, so now I
If you
can't
can-
pull it up?
If you can look up Staples online and see what the executive chair costs.
Yeah, I can look them up. I was thinking-
Don was just
Go
wondering
hog.
who the sheriff's office, dispatcher charges. Saves over $200.
We're gonna keep any caveats out of that, I'm telling.
Huh?
No, I had them.
Well, if I find one, it'll be a bigger sticker, it'll cover half the bottom.
I'm sure it would. You gotta support.
I'm just kidding.
I know you are, I know you are.
Gotta
I
support
could
both,
care less,
gotta
really.
support both of them.
Yeah. There's when they're kind of like that, but I'm not there.
Wade's back.
I'm back. So, I originally didn't get a hold of Joe, and then I did. So, what I have in my hand is the investment and disbursement agreement for the SSM CID project. It was effective August 7th, 2024. Doesn't have the number of pages. I think it's a total of 8 pages. The last page is what's most important, probably what we're talking about here. And I'm doing this because people are going to watch this and they're going to want to know what exactly is happening. So Exhibit A is the investment and disbursement agreement, estimated cost of issuance. So you have 2 series of bonds, the 2024 A bonds and the 2024 B bonds. For the 2024 A bonds, recipient Coffee County origination fees, $20,000. Kansas State Treasurer registration and setup fees, $30. Kansas Attorney General approval fees, $350. Kutak Rock bond counsel fees, $25,000. That total for Series 2024 A bonds, $45,380. Series 2024 B bonds, Coffee County origination fees, $15,000. Kansas State Treasurer registration and setup fees, $30. Kansas Attorney General approval fee, $350. Kutak Rock bond counsel fees, $20,000. The total $35,380. For Coffee County, the total is $35,000. And this document, if you want it, you can circulate it. And the statement that I made earlier in reference to the fees are something that are legitimate, but I think my understanding, and Joe will probably be able to articulate it in a better way, because he deals with this through bonds all the time, is the bond money for the county is not something that just goes to an individual person. It goes to the county and the project, and whoever is working on it, you keep track of your time, you submit whatever voucher, and then you get paid there. And this type of situation, if it's outside the normal duties and responsibilities of what somebody does, which we all have as elected officials, the definition of what our duties and responsibilities are, then that needs to be articulated. In this instance, maintaining or overseeing the disbursement of bond funds is not something that's normal and ordinary. And Joe, you can correct me if I'm wrong in how I'm articulating it. It needs to be submitted in a voucher and then subtracted from there. But I'm going to turn it over to Joe, because he'll probably be able to explain it better than I am.
Thanks, Commissioner. Joe Serrano, Tech Rock, and thanks, Wade. Now, Wade articulated exactly the case. So when we issue revenue bonds, and that's what these are bonds that are paid from the revenues, and the revenues generally are the special assessment that will be imposed on the property. So that they're revenue bonds, but when we issue that bonds, so there's a buyer, in this case it was the bank that bought the bonds, and the money is then dispersed in accordance with various funds. One of which, as Wade articulated, is it goes to the county as an origination fee. And an origination fee is really, as Wade articulated, it's for the administrative burden on the county to administer those bond proceeds. In this case, it is reviewing requisitions, making certain that they comply with the law, dealing with me and others, but dealing with it to ensure that when we make those disbursements, that they're in accordance with the bond resolution and in accordance with law. And when we first started this, it's kind of a little bit of a backdrop, and maybe it'll reset the discussion. When we first started this, you may recall that there was this line of credit that SSM wanted, and it was like we tried to figure out whether it was going to be an economic development fund or a backing or whatever it was, but we ended up offering our credit for a line of credit that SSM obtained. During that period of time, I stood there and said, hey, listen, we're going to have to review what is being submitted by SSM to see if it's what is approved. And we talked about, who at the county would be able to do that. And Richard was in the room, and we pointed to Richard. I think everybody kind of agreed that Richard would be the gatekeeper of this kind of process. So the origination fee is really set up to, it's not specifically related to Richard individually, but it could be to anybody that goes outside the boundaries of their defined, what their role is within the county. But typically what you see, or what we see, is when that's done, with the extra time that anybody spends on the SSM project, can submit a requisition for that, and then it can be paid. But it's not really used for a upfront payment. It's really it's more like a retainer that you draw upon for the extra work that you receive, and so that's kind of the role. So there's I mean, in fairness, there's been a lot of times dealing with those submissions for the line of credit that Richard was not receiving compensation. So there could be some past amounts that are due, but it really needs to be it's anybody within the county that goes outside their job description for these bonds can submit a requisition or a voucher to you as commissioners to say, yeah, that's exactly right, and we can pay it out of this pot of money. And the final thing I want to say is that role is ongoing. We have not dispersed the bond proceeds. All that we're dealing right here in this discussion is cost of issuance, but the bond proceeds are going to be funneled to the developer over time as the project develops. So there's a project fund that's sitting out there that has the vast majority of the monies, and those requisitions will come through Richard and then the monies could be dispersed. So it's an ongoing deal. I don't think it should be, in my opinion, it should not be an upfront payment. It should be over time to draw on these two pots of money, the $20,000 and the $15,000 for the additional work that Richard will perform as reviewing the requisition. So I hope that I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Joe, we're issuing the 35,000 up front. Shouldn't it be paid on the tail end once everything's audited and there's an audit trail in place?
Or as the work goes.
Don, it's usually, maybe it's once a month or once a week or whatever you do it, but if Richard, if anybody, it could be, Angie, it could be Wade, it could be anybody that does anything over and above what they signed up for, they can submit it, but usually it's done on a periodic basis, once a week, once a month, something like that, as opposed to on the tail end. You can do it on the tail end, but generally I don't see it up front because, you wanna detail the work that was done over time, as opposed to, a upfront payment. It's a retainer. It's a retainer that's sitting with the county, and the county then can pay the administrative duties of those that are working on these bonds that are over and above their job description.
Joe McCurry here, Commissioner McCurry, but that'd be based on hours worked, correct? That wouldn't be just one lump sum, that would be based on hours worked, submitted?
Yeah, generally it's hours, work at a reasonable rate.
Right.
The county treasurer doesn't necessarily have an hourly rate, but there is there's a relatively standard what a rate would be, but it really is hours times a reasonable rate defends and justifies the use of the origination fee. And if there's money that remains left over, then the county has the ability to use it for other economic development within the county. So yeah, Steve, that's correct. It's usually hours times a rate equals that amount of the submission for that week or that month.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
What's a good hourly rate to work with, Joe?
I've seen it about $200 to $300 an hour, but Don, if you give me a little bit of time, I can report back. We represent various cities that do this, and I can find out what they actually charge, what the reviewers, those that are reviewing and charge. I've seen it around the $200 to $300 range per hour. If you go to an accountant, sometimes they take it outside and let an independent person do it. Usually it's an accountant or somebody with the financial backdrop. It can get a little bit more expensive in that respect.
Yeah, I fully accept what you're saying, 200 to 300. We see a lot of things that are 200 or 300. To me, it ought to be in that range. So, $200 an hour, that 35,000 for 2 hours.
Right, and it is a burden. I mean, I think we have to recognize that, as I mentioned before, the early submissions associated with the line of credit, I think those are really tied to this financing. So some of the past work clearly can be justified for use of these funds, because we did have quite a few conversations associated with it. Can we approve these or not? And not to get into the weeds too much, we did modify the development agreement a little bit in order for them to be a little bit more loose with some of the use of the line of credit. But Richard and myself still had the obligation to review it and say, are these okay? And as you've heard me mention, some of those were kind of questionable and really shouldn't be supported by any kind of funds that are tied to the county. So some of that past work that Richard has done, I think, is defendable. And then clearly there's going to be quite a bit of additional work that those that the county will have to undertake. Wade, possibly Angie, clearly Richard, maybe others in the offices, I don't know. But anything that's kind of outside the boundaries, I think we can easily justify and defend.
We might be able to auction it off. Hey, now what you'll give me for it? Joe, this is Mike. My biggest thing is I'm sure 90% of this work was done under
was done under the courthouse roof and during the day that, you know, he should be here conducting county business anyway. That was my thing. You know, if this would have been somebody outside, I wouldn't have cared any about it and wouldn't be an issue. It's just, the perception is poor.
Yeah, Jesse, I get that, and I understand it, and you know, there are, you know, there's time that those that have been involved with this, you know, it's gone over and above that, over and above what their routine description would be, notwithstanding whether they're sitting in the building or not. Maybe they're working overtime to get it processed. I don't know that. I understand the perception, but fundamentally, this is used for the purpose of the origination fee is for the administrative burden for those within the county that can draw on this outside of their ordinary course of their duties. That's the purpose behind it.
Okay.
You know, Joe, you talked about job description. The way I look at it and the way I dealt with it for 35 years, job description may or may not detail everything, and you got the responsibility of doing a job description that entitles everything that comes across the table. And you do it for the same salary that you're retained to.
Yeah, I get that, Don, and that's clearly a valid position. You know, I think, you know, but I think it needs to be recognized, I hope it's recognized, that some of this is, I mean, when I first started coming down to the county early on, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, I want to say, maybe 4 years ago, you know, the county had not really issued much debt, and it was relatively new, and it's been a learning curve, and I think, and then these revenue bonds are really kind of a unique animal in and of itself. They're unique to the county, but unique, you know, throughout the state, and so there is some extra, you know, there is an administrative burden, and again, it's not tied to an individual, it's tied to kind of the overall, what the county officials, the staff actually do for this particular financing. So, very valid points you guys are making, and I don't have really an opinion as to that, but I'm just telling you legally, this is why it was set up. Again, I didn't negotiate these numbers, I have no idea what the discussions were, so, but the purpose behind that is because of what we've talked about, and clearly it's not an upfront payment. I mean, that's not the purpose behind this. I would take issue with if you wrote a check for $35,000 today because the hours haven't been earned, the work hasn't been done to earn that amount.
Joe, that's what was presented to us this morning, was a check for $35,000.
That's not the purpose behind this. It's just not.
Okay.
Joe, I really appreciate your information, and, you know, we've just got to move ahead and try to make the best decision we possibly can in the best interest of Coffee County.
I honestly, Don, I think it's just a misunderstanding. It's not, I don't think this is like anything, like we're overt. I mean, it's just a misunderstanding. Why did the county get this? Because we don't usually get this. And the purpose behind it is what we discussed. And the use can be, as we've discussed, but I think it was just kind of probably just a misunderstanding as to why the money's sitting at the county treasurer's office.
Right.
No, I think that's correct.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, it was told to the individual that, well, this is for whoever does the work, and it was like, well, I'm the one doing the work. Well, that's what you get paid the big bucks for. This is your money. And so the check was wrote to the individual, this is your money. In which I don't have a problem with it.
I'm not, I don't feel there's any wrong intention done here, is my opinion.
No, there's not.
Right.
There's
And it can
not.
be spent over time. I mean, it can be drawn over time once you review those invoices or vouchers and say, yeah, this is what was done. This, this took extra hours and this is how much it is.
Okay.
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 I
That,
think that explains it pretty well.
it does explain it.
Okay.
But there needs to be in my mind, there still needs to be a voucher submitted.
Well,
That
and
can
that's
be an
just-
audit
That's
trail,
right.
and that's at $200 an hour or $3.
Right,
That's what he said.
and that's what he said, and that, I feel better about that.
Okay.
And I do want to, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do think, that I could go back and, take a look at the time that Rich and I spent together, but there was quite a bit of time that on that line of credit, because it was new to everybody, it was new to the developer, and there was quite a bit of extra time that he spent dealing with it. So while going forward is one thing, I think he could just, he could submit a requisition or an invoice or whatever voucher for the prior time, and I think that would be, clearly okay, because it was all part of this overall financing. So I just wanted to make that point. There could be a portion of that paid out relatively soon, but not all of it. I mean, there's still a lot of work that we have to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, Wade, do you need me anymore?
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you answering me in short order. I think for me, and maybe you can help me, the summary is for these not normal projects that the county gets involved in, it is normal for a developer to be required to reimburse the county through an origination fee similar to this, and it just doesn't have to be isolated to this project. It could be other projects where a pool of money is sent to the county as an advancement on the extra work that will need to be done at the county level to make a project work, and this is one of those examples.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
There are some other uses. It could be not only for, the administrative burden as I talked about, but it could be for economic development. Whatever that means, it could be, putting in a road for an intermodal. I mean, not that it's going to be down there, but, there's an expansive list, but it needs to be defensible. When we use public monies, in all instances, it needs to be defensible. And so you're exactly right. In this case, it's the administrative burden that, placed upon county staff that could use these funds for reimbursement time.
And those are not normal in the ordinary course of what I characterize as regular business, because these are outside the scope of normal business operations.
That's exactly right.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate your time and your explanation.
My pleasure as always. Call me anytime. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did a much better job of.
I mean, I understand, and I'm glad you got a hold of him, but I, let's go to you, Wade. Analyzing every bill from River City for this jail project, we would have to have paid somebody to do that, and you go over and beyond your call of duty as a county counselor or the county attorney to go through this stuff, and I know you work after hours, so, in the same breath, we owe you a great deal of gratitude or monetary reimbursement, just
Right.
the same as something like this, because not every day a county builds a new jail that costs $30 million.
Yeah, well, I call how many times at 7 in the evening and he's still here working.
Yes. So,
Absolutely.
I said what I said, and not that I'd give you 1% of $30 million, but anyway,
I'm not. I have not, and I will not ask for anything.
I know you wouldn't, and you haven't, but
But we appreciate it.
we as a commission have to recognize the work that you have put in for this and continue to put in for this.
But that being said, Joe clarified where that money should go to is to the county.
And then he should keep track of his time, and then we should reimburse him for that.
That's correct. Instead of that amount of money going, and that makes a heck of a lot more sense.
I agree. And when I asked him how many hours he put on it, he's not kept track. But
You do have some idea though.
he should have some.
He can come up with
He projected 20.
yeah, and I don't have an issue.
I think that's fine, Don, I just kind of a pattern, what I'm saying.
I'm totally fine with paying him for over and beyond his call of duty as a treasurer, and just like I am with Wade as well, just like I am with Angie as well as a clerk, or whoever, you know, but I just
take a peek at it.
It's not a one-time check up front, is what he said.
Yeah, right.
No, it's not that, I still
I'm
don't
fine with it, I just,
like the perception that it presents and open up a can of worms for down the road. That's what I
I
don't.
mean, I understand what it is, but
that's just not the first kind of a similar business. That's all I'm saying. I'm not argue about it. Or unless you do.
no.
We grab that. But I want to see what it is. Thank you, Wade.
Yep.
And thanks for getting a hold of me.
Wade, thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
I hate to take off, but we're gonna head back down to court, or, Dan.
You've done your duty.
I'm not saying they didn't.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Yep,
Wade.
if you need anything else, let me know.
All right. So this is
This is,
This is in the frame box.
yeah.
I'll just move this over.
I can take care of that one. We got that or not.
There's no signatures on this.
I'm not trying to stir shit.
Well, my question is, where did it get it from?
And that was I don't know whether it was,
Yeah. Not saying it's too high or nothing else, I just.
Oh, yeah, no, that stuff does
That
cost.
can be a hell of a job.
It can be, yes. Don, did you see it?
Yeah, he
Okay.
yes.
This is one that should have went in that basket.
Oh, okay.
I think it,
Sorry,
was it in the first basket?
Yeah.
yeah, it was in the first
Okay.
basket.
Yeah.
It was the last one. It was the last one, Angie.
No, I agree with you. My question is, how did it get it? So,
Yeah.
And Melissa was, what was it, been like road oil?
That's from a tree.
Yeah, I know, but was it misleading?
I would have thought,
Maybe, I don't know. That could be, but.
I know I've got road oil all over my pickup.
And that's what,
Somebody that had that on their vehicle here a while back said gasoline, cut that off.
Well, the bad part about the gasoline, the bad part about the gasoline is, I normally use, WD-40. WD-40 will eat your clear coat off.
Right.
Harm your clear coat.
WD will,
mhm.
really?
The detailer told me that.
I see.
Like, I don't, I can't say for certain, but I would guess that was mislabeled some way.
That
Maybe,
might
and
be-
maybe not, maybe not.
that might be. We're just on a roll over there. Spreading hate and discontent.
So, back in the pink elephant, back on the pink elephant room, do we need to call Richard back in here and keep track of your time? And we'll pay you $200 an hour for time.
Either
spent
that
on
or
this?
wait until Joe comes up. I mean, he is going to do some, or maybe he wasn't going to do some research on, and $200 is, that's agreeable with me.
Well, I guess, well, that's, we discussed with him too.
Yeah.
A rate.
Once I said, you know, the 300 is in range of other things
Yeah,
we
that's-
see. I think that,
Oh, it is.
I think that, they probably won't do any more checking, but
2 to 3, whatever, yeah.
I would.
I'm not trying to set a figure either.
No, I'm not either, but
You know, we should-
that would
we
be
need to
fine, Jess.
Discuss that with him then, is what my thoughts are.
Is he still here? Did he?
I don't know, I'll go look and
Okay,
see.
thank you.
Because the clarification was that money should go into
The county.
the county and then
County
and then
for his hours.
Well, I think-
for billed hours.
For
I
going.
think that's where it already is, isn't it?
No,
It's in the county's hands now,
Yeah.
but the check was being wrote to him to take it out of it,
Yeah.
as an upfront payment in full.
Yeah, it's already in the counties.
and to his defense, that's exactly what he was told that it was for.
I don't have a problem with that.
The county and everyone else gets their money's worth from Stan Butterfield. I have to say, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
2 loader tire repairs for $155. 2
He's at
tractor
lunch
tire.
right now.
2 tractor tire repairs for $135, $28 service charge.
Yeah.
Can't get him to answer the phone for
And he's been
$28.
doing that forever,
Yeah, so thank you, Stan.
and he does a really good job.
Who was it was telling me here a while back, that he came and fixed a tractor tire when it was brutal cold, and whoever it was told him, I wouldn't be out here if you called me.
But Stan has done this so long, and he's so good at it.
$999.99.
Oh, okay.
9999. Continental Research Corp. Tires?
No, that's, chemicals, I think.
Chemicals? That is an awful odd number.
Voucher.
Which one is it?
Continental.
Voucher, voucher is $325.
Did you find it cheap?
I wouldn't question that bill, taking a picture of it, I just need him to do similar work for me. Tire disposal. My guy that took care of mine for years passed away, and I
Oh.
get him.
Here, here.
It's still in.
Pardon me?
I'm looking for the voucher up here. Oh, here it is, right there. Okay.
Okay. I set that aside for you, so it's easy to find during time. I'll take credit for something today.
Flex foam, one case, $235.88. OJD, whatever OJD is, $535.46. KO liner, $169. Shipping charges $59.65. Flex films. Interesting.
Just happened to end up to be that figure.
Just a wonky number, yeah,
Yeah.
just a
So
999.
it's not like we charge you that because it couldn't go over 10,000.
Yeah, it couldn't go over $1,000 or something, you know, so.
Yeah.
Get as close as they can.
Here's an invoice for inspecting our bridges, biannuals. Biannual's $33,000.
Yeah. So they're on a schedule and they get rotated, I assume.
I'm not gonna answer that for sure, but
Well, I think they just come every 2 years. They just come every 2 years and.
Yeah, I think. I don't know if there's a rotation on them.
I don't think there's a rotation. They'd be doing it every year if there's a rotation.
Yeah, if there's, yeah.
And I guess I'm speaking out of, I guess.
Oh, you said biannual,
Biannual.
every other year. Okay, I
Yeah.
was thinking twice a year.
I don't think there's any,
Okay.
I'd say they're probably checking all the main ones every 2 years.
No small job.
Did you get any information back from the budget people?
I did,
You did?
we have option 4 now.
Option 4 now. Oh, lordy. It's kinda like going to Walmart looking for cereal. There's too many options.
I looked at that and why I passed it on.
Required. So you want me to sign both of these? Is that what you said?
That first one I'll keep here, and I can sign it. What I was seeing.
Do I need to date it?
I don't know.
Okay, that just was not,
Oh. You all got a copy of option 4.
Moved it down $33.
From where it was last year.
No, this moves it down. $33 from where number 3 was to number 4 down to district.
Revenue neutral.
Yeah,
It was $33 off.
$33 difference. This is 108,
More than that.
$108, and the other's $140.
Yeah, I got it in my pocket. I paid a lot more, a lot less.
Yeah, we got a lot less.
I got a lot less.
You can come back to book the bank.
He can come back to that bank. Option 4.
So she can hold this out. We're using $600 of that, leaving it, so we have been going to,
Okay.
because she didn't want to go more than what Richard told her.
Okay.
And that difference is in that general account.
653.
653,000 is what they took
What
out.
we're gonna use here.
Oh, okay, 600.
So that puts us exactly.
At revenue neutral. Right.
That was with 220-some-thousand left.
Out of the,
And along,
no, I'm gonna call you back on this one. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm at the commission meeting this morning, so. I'll call you back. Bye.
205,000.
Up to that. 205 left in.
Yeah. 928, 205, 928.
I'm getting behind, Ron.
I'm sorry,
I'm getting behind.
We got the curve, pick up the pace, man.
I got behind way. Most of these
We gotta
are
have
smaller
time.
ones,
That's right.
most of these are small enough, pretty well automatic.
Yeah,
Well, the road and bridge is pretty,
yeah, pretty,
The only big one, most of the big ones is that,
lots of those are
that
familiar.
insurance or
Yeah,
rock and
yeah, lots of
phosphate
them.
or foliar.
lots of room.
Hey,
You can't move foliar out of that.
Yeah, lots of them are familiar names on there.
That foliar's,
Well, these are the farm plan.
Yeah, yeah.
farmland this time was
Wasn't
only,
bad.
it was
Good
small.
Rush
But the
truck.
foliar had
boys.
two of them, one a little over 3,000, the other a little over 6.
Kenworth.
Richard, how was lunch?
Haven't had lunch.
You haven't had lunch yet? Okay. The bell just
I was
rang.
at the bank.
We talked to,
Joe
Serrano. Joe Serrano said that that was to the county, and then the county could reimburse,
Okay,
pay the individual for the hours spent taking care of that stuff. So I would advise, I mean, my personal opinion, keep track of your hours, and we'll pay you, I mean, he said normally runs between $200 and $300 an hour. So,
okay.
what are you comfortable with? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
2's fine.
Okay,
That's
$200
the normal
an
rate.
hour? Whatever.
And you surely come up with some kind of an estimate of what you've done so far. I think you said before you hadn't kept track of any time.
Well, I know it's 20, 25 hours.
Right, right.
We'll call it
So-
25 hours, throw us a voucher, we'll do it. Or if you wanna wait,
Okay.
keep track of everything and come up at the end of it, but I think
Okay.
it'd be a while. So,
Yeah.
but,
That being said, Joe said that it would be better to do it like a monthly or something like that,
Okay.
if possible.
Sure.
That'd be all right.
If that'd be,
Mhm.
if you're good with that.
I think that'd be better for us and better for the auditor.
I just think the perception is way better doing it this way than, I didn't even wanna call it out.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
That's why I did it this way, because if Walker's doing it, nobody knows.
Right, exactly,
True. True,
exactly.
100%.
Yeah,
Right.
He just writes me a check
and
and
we
it's
want
done.
you in charge of it, or I do
I
anyhow.
do too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at least they,
I ain't saying you don't do a good job, not one bit.
No, I haven't heard that anywhere.
No, we appreciate everything you
I appreciate it. This first time I've seen something like this, it was totally new to us.
do. Myself on the personal side, dealing with you and your office, and I do quite a bit of that, obviously, with my dealership. It's very good.
We try.
Yep,
Yes, sir.
that's all we can do.
You do.
Haven't had to use a baffle once. Check the file cabinet.
Okay,
All right.
that's where we're at, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Yep.
sir.
Now lunch.
Now, lunch.
Okay, we done with checks and vouchers, back to the budget. We
Are you
have,
done there? I'll take that basket and then.
oh, we're back to option number 4.
Or,
Option 4, Angie has presented to us from the auditor, is holding the interest that Richard is projecting the same, not increasing it. Once again, pulling the $885,928 out of the mental wellness back into the general, creating a mental wellness under the general header. We would deduct $653,000 out of that 888 or 885. That would leave $205,928 in mental health under the general heading, and that would put us down to our revenue neutral rate of 55,796. is optional,
Which is exactly what it was last year.
exactly what it was last year.
Actually, you're lower than last year. As far as the mill levy, you're two mills below. Look at 20.
That'd still be fine.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's, so we're, yeah, that is correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, down from 57,127 to 55,796. Cutting taxes. But we'll be in trouble for cutting mental illness, so it's a lose-lose.
Well, we didn't do that though.
Well-
There's still money in the account and we still intend to fund it, but we're trying to be hopeful that things might recover on the, you know, on some of our sources for income. And if they go down, then it's gonna be worse next year.
Yep.
That's odd you that we're using this money to help us get through this year.
From the proposed budget dollars, if I understand everything correctly, Angie, where the auditor started out with, we're gonna be raising about $4 million less money than what they projected. They projected 39.96, which is basically 39 million, and we're basically raising 35 now. So the citizens shouldn't, they shouldn't be able to criticize us for not evaluating everything very, very, very seriously.
And we spent quite a bit of time trying to
And I hope,
get,
you know, it doesn't come back here in a year or two, because we got a lot of things going on in this county.
hopefully we get industry going.
That's my whole thing about bringing industry in to help offset the mill and keep rolling the mill down to help every citizen of Coffee County that owns property.
And the folks that were in the other day, I didn't take it as criticism, I mean, I took it just as
Right.
concern
Right.
and trying to get a better understanding of what was going on.
Yeah, I totally understand their
Yeah, I do
situation,
too. I
because
do
lots
too.
of those people that were here were on fixed incomes and retired and trying to reap the joys of life, and their bills are going up, their
Yeah.
food's going up,
Everything's
everything's
going
going up.
up.
Retirement's supposed to be a fun time and a good time for people, but
Right.
unfortunately, it's not that. It's no money, and how am I gonna make my house payment or pay my
That's what
taxes?
it's turned into, yeah,
Or where's my next supper coming from?
right.
The value of the residency, you know, continuing to go up here, which is pretty well controlled by the state. But, now I've lost my train of thought of what I was wanting to do. But the only way they take advantage of that is sell their property.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the only way they can take advantage of that is selling their property.
Right.
And that's not what we're wanting.
No,
No,
those,
not at
these
all.
reverse mortgages or whatever, that's,
Well, that's why I said earlier, you know, like my folks, when they bought their property, 160 acres. No, yeah, quarter section, he pays more in taxes now than he paid for the property when he bought it.
Well, I'm sure that's right.
And granted, it's worth what it's worth now, but, I mean,
yeah, but we're talking taxes.
taxes.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
Yeah. So do we need to make a motion to approve the budget?
If this is what you would like, we have two
I mean-
motions. Let's see, I'll give you my computer here. So the first one you want to do is the county budget.
I got Tom's glasses, I'm good.
Number 3.
All right. Motion to approve the year 2025 Coffee County budget as published. It's not as
Well,
published, is it?
Well, let's just do just budget. Because you've made revisions as revised.
As
maybe.
revised, yeah, okay. Motion to approve year 2025 Coffee County budget as revised. I'll move.
All second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion, I think we beat it to death. Other than thanks to everybody that worked on it. And,
Yeah, exactly.
And unfortunately, I mean, I was gone during all this stuff here, and now I'm glad I got to
Well,
have a
everybody
hand in.
tried to scrutinize that pretty close.
They did.
Went through it.
Yep. So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next one is, motion to approve the year 2025 Coffee County Fire budget as published.
I'll move it.
Go ahead, Steve.
Is that maybe?
Moved by McCurry, seconded by Meeks.
Meeks.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Okay, I'm gonna print, let's see, did I have the fire?
You had the fire out early. He had the fire out early.
Yeah,
Well,
okay, here's the fire. So y'all can sign that one, and I'll print off this option.
Kinda forgot how to write my first name in cursive there for a little bit. $2023 was 55,479. 57,127. 55. Cool. This is just option 4, I believe.
Like that, and then you should do that.
Yeah, we got that. That really got the information from the zoning.
Okay.
And that's the county
That's the
one?
county.
We still got,
So the fire department was,
Yeah, nothing changed.
nothing changed.
nothing changed.
Yeah.
Do we still need to publish this, what, twice or 3 times, or once enough?
Well, we've already published,
We've already
and,
published it.
and you've reduced, so you're
We don't
fine.
have to do it again.
Yeah.
I think Mark needs to put it on the front page in big bold letters.
Well, I'll be giving you a copy of it.
I think that's a good statement.
That's what I think. Just throwing that out there.
But
Okay.
That's all you got? Any new roundtable come up between Monday and now?
No, just that I did call Brad. I didn't get a hold of him, but I left a message about meeting in the basement for Monday, or Tuesday's meeting
Okay.
at 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock for the Tuesday meeting.
it's not at 9 o'clock?
It is, but the planning and zoning,
I think the zoning is at
Well,
one.
it's
At
down,
1.
it's down to 1.
so.
Yeah, but we'll still have our 9 o'clock meeting.
Yeah, we still have a normal 9 o'clock meeting.
So far, there's only one thing on our meeting,
Yeah.
or maybe 2, I forget what's on.
Steve, you didn't have any new developments for roundtable since Monday?
I don't, I met with the, pre-construction group and Amelia's. She'll be in and give you the report on that. And it went well.
I got to thinking, when I walked out there Monday, the boats people were coming in the bottom door. They was discussing maybe a roll-off, and I heard them say something about a roll-off sitting on the grass, and I didn't say anything to them, but I wanted to say,
No.
don't you dare.
No. And that was, but it was looked at. The fence along the east side, they thought maybe they could put a roll-off there, because the question was asked, and I'm not trying to steal Amelia's deal, but the question was asked was, how close do you need it to be? And his response was, well, 15 to 20 inches from, and his, as close as could be, just for time.
Right.
And so they said, well, would there be some way that they could, join River City's project? And the comment was said, we'll go over and talk to, Ryan.
Mhm.
And there's no way in the world that can happen, because, I mean, I think he's got 2 40-yard dumpsters that they're continually, and his problem is space too.
Could they share one?
That was asked also, and Ryan said, man, that can't help, we're not going to be able to do that.
Right, I understand that.
Then the other thing that was discussed was possibly putting it out there in that, parking space,
First one.
the first one.
Which is oversized anyway,
Which is,
because of the back out.
well, anyway, I told him to talk to Wade and let him take a look at it and see what they can come up with. But I think since that time, they've changed directions, and they're looking at a mobile dumpster that they can hook a truck onto, take it out to the landfill, on a daily basis, and it'll be a mobile.
They could even use one of those dump trailers, one of those construction dump trailers.
And I think that's what he was, because I talked to, the super, because I asked Amelia how long it was going to have to sit there, and she said roughly 150 days. So yesterday I called that superintendent, the guy that was in charge, and I said, so the 150 days, is that going to be continual or in and out? And he said, well, we've kind of talked it over, and we think we're going to change plans and bringing in a mobile, what do you call it?
A dump trailer.
A dump trailer. And he said, how far is the landfill from here? And I said, that's a couple miles out of town. And he said, well, what the plan would be then would be to load, dump. And so I talked to Amelia this morning. She's going to get a hold of him, and so she can give you guys enough. I don't mean to steal her show, but that's kind of what's been.
Well, it gives us something we can look at when we leave here, and maybe we'll see something else.
Sure,
You know.
and that's what Wade said, was that, because I bounced it off of Wade then that evening, and so that, him and Amelia have been in contact and looked, so.
Yeah, I seen him walking the sidewalk this morning.
Right. But it was a good meeting.
Good, good.
Don, do you have any new developments?
No, I do not, yes, sir.
Mr. Thompson?
No, sir.
Well, I don't have anything either, I don't think, other than Rick met on the road, 50 highway. I'm continuing watching that
I was gonna say, it sounds like you're on top of it.
I've been nonstop since I've gotten home, so
Yeah, we want a good road when they get done, and I
Well,
appreciate your efforts.
that's what I told the engineers yesterday. I said, you know what, this road's got my name on it, it's got everybody's name on it, and we want it, and they want it too, you know, so.
Yeah.
The engineers and the county guys.
Yeah, sure.
As far as that goes, so, I'll be back up there again today. I'll drive through and see if I see something that I'm questioning, but I think we'll see that they'll do the south side a lot differently. I think they'll do a mile, prep it, pave it, do a mile, prep it, pave it. I think that's what you're gonna see. Sure, the biggest problem that I see, and gonna be a big inconvenience for the farmers up there, is it's gonna be during harvest.
Yeah, they gotta do their project.
But we've gotta get the
Yeah.
project done, and I know they will work with us, and they'll work with the farmers up there if they come and ask and say, man, we've gotta get into this field, you know, we're gonna have to have temporary. I know they'll work with it, they'll grunt and gripe, but I know they'll, Bettis will work with us, you know, so. And if they won't, then the county will have to, some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's too bad that mile from 75 to Links wasn't included, but at the time,
Yeah.
I think the consensus was from.
Why spend $1 million on that when it could be redone?
Turned around and be widened out or something on the
Yeah.
east end of it, yeah.
Which saved the county money too, because it's all percentage deal, percentage pay too, so I mean, which our portion is minimal, but yeah, I agree, and hindsight's 20/20.
Oh, every time,
Yeah.
every time.
If we knew what hindsight was, we'd be smart. If nobody else has anything else,
I hate it when somebody said, well, you should have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we know then what we know now.
My dad had a saying for that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
One of those what if deals.
yeah, it is.
Are we good?
I'm good.
Okay, we've done our little round table discussion. See y'all Monday. We will adjourn at 12:21.
Yes, because we're holiday Monday.
Holiday, see y'all Tuesday.